Büyükelçim, Washington DC Büyükelçimiz Sayın Serdar Kılıç Bey de sağ olsun lütfettiler, katıldılar şimdi yayınımıza. Çok teşekkür ediyoruz Sayın Büyükelçime. Onun da emekleri, onun da yaptıkları, onun da Türkiye için Washington DC'deki mücadelesi asla hakkını onun ve ekibinin ödeyemeyiz. Tek tek Allah razı olsun hepsinden. Çok büyük mücadele veriyorlar. Bu arada kapanış dersimiz 31 Mayıs'ta. Son günümüzdeki 4 dersimizden ikisi meclis başkanlarımız olacak. Biri Enver Bey, biri de benim çok kıymetli büyüğüm, abim. Bu da Profesör Doktor Serdar Durdağı hocamla birlikte bilgisayar teknolojilerinin virüs ile alakalı çözümler üretmedeki artılarını konuşacağız. Ardından ardından Emine Sare Aydın hanımefendi ile birlikte olacağız. Ve son olarak da saat 10'da gurmelik ve gastronomi konuşuyoruz. Şef İsmet Saz ile birlikte olacağız. Bu süreçte aslında o konuda çok hassas noktalardan biri. Göçle ilgili bu sefer Suriye konusunu konuşuyoruz. Değerli abim Teoman Kerman Bey çok önemli finans pozisyonlarında bulundu hayatı boyunca. Şu anda da QNB Finans Bank'ın yönetim kurulu üyesi. Biraz finans konuşacağız, mevzuat konuşacağız. Bir sonraki günü söylüyorum bu arada. Sonra Doktor Sean Cox'la birlikte Avrasya ve Rusya politikaları konuşacağız. Ve son olarak da akşam 10'da benim değerli dostum, kıymetli milletvekilimiz Gülay Yedekçi Hanım'la siyaset değil, siyasete girmek, gençler için siyasete girme noktasındaki zorluklar ve gerçekleri konuşacağız. Çünkü biliyorum ki birçoğunuzun siyaset yapma hayali var, siyaset yapma arzusu var da bunun bir de finansal tarafı var, kariyer tarafı var, imkanlar. Bu süreçleri yaşamış değerli bir vekilimizden de çok açık açık konuşarak bazı tavsiyeler alacağız diyorum. Ve değerli Büyükelçimiz burada mı? Geldim ona bakalım. Küba Büyükelçisi, değerli dostum Bay Nunez. Buldum. Okey. Okey. Mr. Ambassador.
Hello, pleased to meet you. Pleased to meet you.
How are you?
Nice to see you with a bear.
Is it better or worse?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's good for pandemic era.
Okay. It's nice to see you again.
To our friend, our students here. Distinguished friends, Mr. Nunez, Luis Alberto Amoros Nunez, is the ambassador of Cuba in Ankara, in Turkey. He's a great friend of ours. He is a great friend of our university. And unfortunately, this end of April, he's supposed to be our School of Government's, Global Leadership Forum. He was going to speak about South America, Latin America, Central America topics. But unfortunately, because of the situation that we went through, we had to cancel the event. But thanks God, we have a chance to find him here right with us. So we are going to be talking about one of my favorite countries in the world, Cuba.
Thank you very much.
This great gentleman is not only a diplomat, is not only dealing with diplomacy and politics for years, but he's a great friend, a great gentleman, and his energy always distributes a good wellness to everyone around him. So, Mr. Ambassador, welcome once again.
Well, my friend, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some views with your student. It's always a pleasure being involved there. It's a nice. I really, when I be there, I feel like at home. I feel like in a good moment of my life. So I'm here in your disposition and your friends in order to talk a little bit about Cuba and the current situation with the pandemic. trying to elaborate and to explain certain things on that. Probably you know many things about or certain things about this. There are information that have been news that have been spread have been known. For example, the Cuban medical teams that are in many places of the world, that are in Italy, in Andorra, in other places. The way that we are fighting in Latin America is nowadays is very. You have many news from that. I was watching the TV now, your news about information about different countries from my region, big ones. To try to explain and to give my views on the issues that you will raise to me. Thank you for inviting me to this program.
It's always honor and pleasure for us, Mr. Ambassador. Now let's start with this. Actually, about health issue, I definitely put a different question on this. It's very, very important, especially when the topic is health and Cuba. It's miracle what you guys are doing over there, but I'm going to ask it in the upcoming minutes. So before everything, I'm just going to start with this for the people, especially the people of Turkey, for a lot of different reasons, loves Cuba. Definitely Fidel Castro, which I had a chance to meet with him when he was in Turkey. I was a young high school student working in Habitat, and I had a chance. I liked them so much, so we had pictures and everything. I was trying to find them to show everyone here, but so
next time
I'll bring it.
Okay.
But more than everything, Cuba is a unique country. Now, can you tell us what Cuba politics is about, the location, a little bit about history, pretty much what Cuba stands for in the region? So if you can give us a little bit Cuba tour, so we can have a political, economic, social, and geographical knowledge better about your great country.
Well, it could take hours, and we don't have that much time. Reality, geopolitically speaking, since the time of the colonies, we have been placed a very the last colony from the Spain in Latin America to years more after the brother from Latin America. We got with independence, fighting against Spain, and with the intervention of the United States in our life to trying to be independent. The national hero of Cuba, Jose Marti, explained once that the Cuban destiny was to fight for the independence of the Latin America and to stop the U.S. to swallow the whole region. And probably this has been our nightmare. So we got our independence after 30 years of fighting against the Spanish Empire. With the in the moment after 5 years, almost 4 years of the intervention in Cuba of the United States, they occupy our country. To Cuba and to be dominant in all elements of our on our country life. That's the reason of Guantanamo. So as I told you, that can take hours on that. But after this, we have a history of almost 60 years, since 1903 to 1959. We have a kind of so-called independence, but independent too attached to the U.S. And then revolution led by Fidel Castro. In order to be real independence, in Cuba, you really need to have we are paying to come and swallow the Latin America as such. That was said by our national hero, Jose Marti. He in his last, political testament, his last letter, he just said that this is the destiny of Cuba, and it's clear that we are that. Sorry.
Now, if I remember right, from our last talk with you in Istanbul, you are a graduate of international relations, and you worked in a lot of issues with United States as the beginning of your official diplomacy position, also in Miami, also in United Nations, and all these spots. So you're an experienced diplomat who has a background of international relations, education. Now,
Okay.
most of my students here wonders the situation in Guantanamo. You already touched bases with that, but if it's okay, I want you to clear it for them, because as far as I know, since 1903, year 1903, the part of official Cuba, I know it's a small part, but it belongs to United States, not belong, it's the wrong word. It is rented by United States, if I'm not mistaken, for $4,000.
It's a job.
It's $4,000 a year, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's correct. It's correct.
For $4,000, I mean, if you find a good deal for me in Cuba, I would like that to like that big place. Anyhow, so but I read the agreement from the old U.S. Archives, and it says unless two countries mutually terminate the agreement, the rent keeps on going and going. So it's just the only way to end this mutual termination. So long word short, what is the situation? You already touched bases with that, I know, but what is the situation in Guantanamo? Who is in your land? How it affects the relations with the United States from the Guantanamo point of view?
I think that this is one of the sticking point of any possible normalization of a relation with the U.S. We during the moment that with the Obama administration, we were in the process for normalizing the relation. That was one of the issues that we reiterate again as we always did. This is very important for Cuba. This is a Cuban land. This Cuban land is in the very practical way on the dominance of the U.S. because of a very how to say, we say in Cuba, because of almost illegal treaty. This treaty was signed in 1903 and was one of the conditions for Cuba to be independent. So we at that moment we had a big discussion for our constitution, and the only possibility, negotiating with the U.S. to leave Cuba and to allow our country to be independent was to accept one amendment to our constitution, appendix of a constitution that had 10 points. This was another one very close to Havana that in the time of the Roosevelt administration during the good neighbor, at that time in the 1930s, this basis was transferred to Cuba, but then this military, this condition was one of the conditions for us to get our independence. That's the reason that this so bad deal, no one can sign a deal like this. Normally the military bases, they have a time period, a time frame. It's a 500, 50, 100 year, 100 year, 90, but never forever. And that showed the kind of relation that we had with the United States during 60 years, because they don't only put this condition to us, they put all the conditions, for example, to intervene in Cuba wherever they consider necessary. But the way they intervened in Cuba two times, and we almost had a third time intervention in Cuba. But the US, they occupied Cuba in two occasions based on this agreement, this decision. Also, in order to sign agreements, economic agreement with any country, we're supposed to have the permission of the US. So many unpleasant, really bad cooperation from their side. So right now, the situation is we continue claiming this. We still considering, and we will fight forever for that, considering Guantanamo a illegal place, illegal military bases. This is our territory. We don't stop to say this in wherever international arena to them. We always say. By the way, I've been in the U.S., but just serving in New York as a diplomat there in the United Nations. So I'm not that. I say like Jose Marti. Jose Marti lived, our national hero. He lived in the United States for 15 years, and he said, "I live in the monsters, so I know his inside." So I know a little bit his inside because of my personal experience and my stories, and that is what I in short what I have to say regarding Guantanamo. It's a legal place. It's a territory from Cuba. They're supposed to return these military bases to us.
Now, before everything, I want to touch bases with this because we already finished short 20 minutes. We have 25 minutes more, but this topic that you open at the beginning is very important. So I'm going to come to that. Now, we have news. The Cuban doctors went to Italy. The Cuban health means in Cuban life, right? Cuban lifestyle, the Cuban government's life. Honestly, I saw a lot of my friends from Turkey and from other sides of the world who has serious illnesses, instead of going to Europe or United States, they prefer to go to Cuba. So Cuba is one of the most important health centers, one of the most important as a country, a clinic as a country, one of the best hospitals in the world. Like this is not an exaggeration, by the way, people. The entire country is scientifically in medical issues is great. I mean, poof. We can explain how technologically advanced and how scientifically well designed they are. So, how you guys achieved it? Can you tell us the health history and the success story behind it?
So, first of all, part of the basis, political basis of a revolution was the Moncada program. Fidel Castro attacked the Moncada barracks in 1953. He was put in jail. He was to sue, and then he showed up. He presented a program for the possible Cuban revolution. One of the main elements of this program was giving right to health to all Cuban, not to a part of Cuban population, but to all of us. We in Cuba, that was at that time a middle income country. I think that some level of development in as part of developing countries, but at that time we had around 6 million people. So we have 1 million people, almost 1/6 of the population, that they didn't have any right at all to health, at all. People dying for diarrhea, muscles, for flu, so health. So when the revolution triumphed, at the beginning of the revolution, one of the tools that the U.S. government used to trying to collapse to defeat the revolution was to steal half of the doctors that we have in Cuba. So a half of a Cuban doctor left to the U.S. Some of them for political reasons, but most of them because the Americans, the U.S. government, trying to steal them. So at that moment, the revolution led by Fidel Castro started a process of preparing many doctors, more doctors than the one that we lost. Creating many centers, research centers, sending doctors to professors to different parts of the world, in order to take information what would be the most advanced issue in the medicine. So the first 4 or 5 years of a revolution were years in order to massify the preparation and creating all conditions to giving a health for free to everybody. At the same time, because of a blockade that I want to have so we had to prepare our centers, our factories, in order to produce our own medicines, to be really prepared to not to be attacking that way. So that 4 or 5 years, 6 years were very important. And after that, we continue preparing more people, massifying this. And in the 1970s, we had many centers already created. So we start working in the very pioneer fashion on the biotechnology. So we had critic mass of specialists in chemistry, biology, engineer, mathematics, doctors. So we put all these people, all these strength into these centers, and they start, producing research, to put them in the market, in the factories. So we created a very strong biotechnology industry. By the way, this is one of the first sources of income from Cuba. So, we used to be like normally all developing country. We used to be only a sugar producer, tobacco producer, some tourism. But we became a very strong country in biotechnology. That's the reason, for example, as you say, that all medicines that we are using for our patients, on COVID, for the pandemic, are using our medicine. We having right now, for example, the interferon alpha 2b that helps a lot in order to have more to strengthen your immunology system. We have certain antibody monoclonal antibodies, that they were used against cancer, against different type of diseases, and right now they are helping a lot. They are helping a lot in this process. So they are right now a lot of products. 4, 5, 6 very innovative products that they have proved that have been very efficient in many countries in order to fight against this. We have been requested from different countries, more than 70 now, different products. We are negotiating here, cooperating with some Turkish companies in order to have some of these products in Turkey. Inshallah, that goes well. But that's explain this. Health is a human right. You're supposed to treat this like this, by free. We have 9 doctors for every 1,000 inhabitants. 1,000 population. Every 1,000 population per person, we have 9 doctors. We 13 diseases. We have an expectancy of life, a little bit longer than the US. We are the longest in Latin America, probably together with in Americas in general, probably very close to Canada and Uruguay. So we created a system that make medicine affordable to everybody. This is one of the reasons, my friend, that regarding the pandemic, we have right now a very good numbers, in terms. We having 79 people dead, a little bit more than 1,800 people are affected. The rate of people dead by people infected is very low in comparison with the world and in comparison with the Latin America. Not talking about the US because this is something else. But in short, we consider health like a human right. When we born in Cuba, we know that we're supposed to live for almost 80 years. We're supposed to having free vaccination. We're supposed to be attended by any surgery by free, no matter what. We're supposed to receive the most advanced medicine. That's explained. Why so many people from Turkey goes to Cuba. I know some of them. We are helping them, and we are very proud, to help and to contribute a little bit about that. That's the reason too, my friend, that we have right now more than 2,000 doctors around the world in 24 countries. And we wanted to have, let me put it in that way. We wanted to have more, helping more people, but we're supposed to do it in a way that we don't put in danger our system. So we're supposed to do it. We study very well. We try to respond to all the requests I receive. Let me tell you that we receive more requests. You know, our doctors are very famous, not only here in Turkey, but all over the world.
Yeah, I have to say this. Thanks to you guys for everything. Because some countries are asking for doctors to their own country and giving them citizenships and pretty much telling them to leave their own country and, you know, immigrate. So they don't care about the rest of the world. And some countries like yourself just do anything to back up the other part of the world as long as you secure yourself. So thank you so much for everything, for your health support to the rest of the world in your best capacity. Now let's come to Cuba and Turkey. How can you define the Cuban-Turkish relationship? Again, political, trade-wise, in all that aspects.
You know, I think that we are living very good moment. But I think, you know, I think that always been good moment between Turkey and Cuba. You know, we are very satisfied in Cuba for the type of relation that we have. Our authorities, you know, the president. We always commented to the minister of Chol is regarding the support against the blues. In all like this, but it's an euphemism. It's a blockade. It's a blockade because, for example, they don't allow Cuba and Turkey to have election. They try to track people from making investment in Cuba. They try to stop people to make a trade. They punish banks for doing things. But nevertheless, we all know this, and we are very glad, for example, that in this voting in the United Nations, Turkey is always totally in our side. Even when the United States presented, you know, some coward proposal trying to contaminate the resolution and to watering down this, you know, Turkey didn't hesitate. They were country, we all know, and we don't try to stop the relation between country. But Turkey is very clear. No way, this is not fair. This that you always been in our side in this, and this is not the Cuban side. It's the legal side. It's the side of the majority. It's the side of the United Nations. It's the side of the world. No one around the world considers this fair. So we have a very good exchange of visits. You know, you are, as you say, you know, our president, at that time, President and leader of the Cuban Revolution, Fidel Castro, was here in Habitat. You know, the President Erdogan went to Havana and had a very good meeting there in 2015, 16, sorry. We had also the visit here of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Your Minister Chol went to Cuba last year. So we always have a very good level of exchanges, and it's working pretty well. So we support each other in the international arena. You know, on the interest of both countries. We support each other at a very good friends. So we have a great access to everybody here in Turkey. We enjoyed, as you do, you are ambassador there in Havana. We both enjoy, that our countries and we personally are very much, how to say, love here in Turkey. Everybody, wherever we go, we hold all personality, political, at all levels. In different stances, wherever we go, we are very well received. And in Havana, the same from your ambassador. Our ministers, for example, our Minister of Health, both of them, they met in last year in Geneva. We have some visit here for some people from our Ministry of Foreign of Health. Some other high level personalities. So we, in political terms, no way. It's to be better. I don't know how to be better. Because it's really pretty good. In the economic level, we are increasing our relation. We are really increasing. I always have a great insatisfaction. It's the same insatisfaction that we have in Cuba, the Cuban authority. The same insatisfaction that the President Erdogan told me when I presented the credential to him. We don't have economic trade relation in the level that we both countries we can have. We are now more than $50 million per year, but it's nothing. It's nothing on the possibility that we both countries have. The complementarity, the opportunities, the quality of a product that we both have. We, for example, on medicine, some chemical products, agricultural products, different from different sectors. You, for example, in the construction, in the chemistry, in the metallurgic, we right now, for example, we have many of the products that they come to Cuba from Turkey. They are coming from the third country. More than 70%. So we are using intermediaries for our trade instead of to making direct relation with that. Direct one. That would be for the benefit of both of us. You, for example, in Cuba, you know that you are pretty good in construction, in tourism. You are one of the the leader of the world on that. And you have a few investment in Cuba. Only two great big investment in Cuba. And they are very recent investment. So there are many opportunities for Turkish investors to come to Cuba, and they are not yet there in the way that they're supposed to be. So I think that is a good relation. We are improving, but we have insatisfaction on that. I can talk to you about the cultural relation. It could be, they are pretty good, but they could be better. I could be talking also about in the area of cooperation. It's also there to a possibility to improve. So, in short, the relations are good, are very good in the political level, for many reasons, but we can still improve in other areas, mainly in the economic and in the trade area. There we have still, places to move forward.
My last question, Mr. Ambassador. Latin America, Cuba, the future. Now, let me expand the question a little bit like that.
Okay.
This pandemic showed us something. We don't know what yet. We all talk about it. The technology is coming up, health, nothing is going to be same again. Okay. But we don't know the 100% the route yet. Because I believe after the
maybe August or September, we are going to be seeing the economic impacts of it. We are
Of
going
course.
to see the economic plus the political impacts of it maybe after December. How it is going to change the lifestyle of people, how it is going to change the actions of the countries, the democratization or opposite way of the countries. So I know it's early to ask this, but still the rest of the Latin America, South America, let's say, including the Central America, of course, that's why I use the term Latin America, and Cuba. What do you think the future for Latin America is going to be like?
That's a very complex question.
I know.
How much we have? How much minute we have? We have 5-10 minutes more, no? Okay.
Max.
Okay. Let me, regarding the pandemic, first, before coming to after pandemic moment. You know, we consider that is very important. Is really essential to put forward and for more cooperation, for more solidarity in order to overcome, the health element of this crisis. And this is first. First, we need to live, and later on to see what we do. So, but the first things in order to secure our life we need more solidarity. We need more cooperation. You know, I'm very glad that here this is a part of the elements that have been raised by the government, by the, they need to have more cooperation and to overcome this selfish approach, mainly coming from the U.S. and from the wealthy society. That they think that the only way to solve this is just coming inside and solving this problem by ourselves. This is not possible. It's not possible to come to a successful outcome of this without a cooperative and solidarity approach. That for me is first. It's not clear for me that right now in Latin America, in our region, we have this approach, and not even around the world. This is exceptional now. I think that a certain moment here in you seen what you have been seeing what happened in the European Union, that happened in the US, what happened in our region. That have not been the approach, and this is very bad, and that we have, that will worse the impact that we will have on this. The second element from my answer is coming for the moment before the pandemic. You remember that at the end of a year, we have in Latin America fire here and there, people on the streets in different places. I don't want to touch upon more about that, but for Cuba position, or for that we have been defending, is critical to give more participation to the people, to have to go for equality instead of to dividing more. I think that is clear. For example, right now that have been seen in the war, in the developed world, mainly in the US, that the people more affected by the pandemic that have been the people, the minorities, the poorest. So these people will be the most affected. So it's essential to assume a different approach into that, to have not only solidarity abroad, but to have solidarity and more participation, equality inside. I have my doubts regarding the possibility that governments in our region assume this approach. But you see what happened. People were on the street at the end of the year. So I'm not I don't try to be catastrophic, not pessimistic, but we had a pattern there. We had a pattern there that people did without having this tough situation that we having right now. So I know, I'm a Marxist, I'm a Marxist guy, and then I believe in the, Lenin and Marx, they have something that is regarding the, is a theoretic element regarding the revolutionary situation. I don't know if we will be facing this, but it's why, for me it's clear, if that people will not allow to be totally marginalized and not fighting for their rights. People will be fighting, no matter what. So for me, the best scenario would be that the leader from our region assume a more cooperative approach, internationally, internally, that neoliberalism, just thinking that the market will solve all the problem, to try to change this position. You see that these days the countries that are having a more, government in real control, or government to fighting for everybody, are the countries that are facing better outcome in the fighting against the pandemic. The countries that have weak governments, that they are not representing, the interests of people, they are more selfish, just thinking on the minority, thinking on the more wealthy, they are facing, worse situation in this moment. So as you say here in Turkey, inshallah, this approach change. I'm not trying to be catastrophic, but I think that we had a pattern, last year. And we probably will see more revolutions than the Cuban one.
Mr. Ambassador, as usual, it was great. Thank you so much to be with us here tonight.
Okay, thank you to you.
I mean, it's whenever we had a chat, whenever we had a meeting or conference or webinar or this kind of, technological stuff used events, I always get great pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much, Ayı.
No, thank you to you for the invitation. You are a student to give me this opportunity to talk a little bit. So I left many ideas out. I know that we have a short time, but it has been a great honor for me to be with you in this program. Now I will be becoming your fan on this.
Now, because of Instagram, we had to cut it short in 50 minutes instead of 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah, of course.
It gives us an advantage, which is I already gonna get a promise from you to give a talk in Istanbul, hopefully around November-ish or